one of the things that you one of the skills that you build up if you play Puyo a lot is that you become good at seeing and remembering what colors you need in specific spots. So if you wanted to build a chain like this, well, before you complete it, once you build up the skill, you'll know, okay, I need reds here and then a yellow and a red. And you'll be able to look at it and think really quickly, okay, I need reds here. So if you see reds coming, you're like, okay, I need reds here. And if you see a yellow, you're like, okay, I needed a yellow here, and I remember. And I need a red here, and I know I need a red here. And then that skill is something that you just build up over time. So it'll become something that becomes natural if you play a lot. And it's something that you will just naturally get good at. But something that's harder to see and doesn't necessarily come as naturally, but is also pretty important, is seeing the colors that won't work and then as a result, like deducing what you have to put in a certain spot because certain colors won't work. So if you're just chaining and not thinking too much and you draw a yellow red, you would probably want to put it here and then set off with a red because you have a clean chain, it's an all clear. But the thing that's hard to see is like if you're not looking for it, you're not going to notice. You can't put anything here except a red. So if you do something like if you put a yellow red here and you're just building, all of a sudden you're gonna get really stuck. So if you draw like a green and a blue, there's nowhere to put it like that's really any good. Like maybe this. But now if you draw a green and a yellow, say, there's not many places to put it. You probably have to put it here. And now if you draw like two yellows, you're gonna end up throwing away a lot of pieces. And if you're still not drawing a red, you're gonna end up throwing away a lot of pieces or trying to build something awkward that's hard to work with. And it's all because you have to put a red in this spot, but it's not so obvious. Like again, as you play, like if you play Puyo regularly, you'll build up the skill to see like, okay, I want a yellow and a red. That's pretty natural. But it's not very natural, I'd say, to see, okay, I want a red here because I can't build anything if I don't put a red here. But it's pretty important. So this example is kind of exaggerated, but this actually happens a lot in normal builds too, where you end up with a situation where you just can't put a certain you can't put colors somewhere without it breaking something. So that's something that you want to learn to look out for, and then you want to fill those spaces quickly so that they don't become a problem. So if you draw a red yellow, you really want to put it here so that you can continue building the rest of your chain without issue. So if you draw a bunch of greens, now you have a place to put them. If you draw extra yellows, you can build another link here. If you draw extra blues, you can build another link because there's a place to put the pieces because you don't have a column that's locked out. But again, if you're not looking for these things, you'll probably put a yellow red here, and now you're locked out of using the middle column until you draw another red. And so then in this example, there's other places like this column on the edge. You don't want to put a green or a blue, so if you draw a red or a yellow, you might just want to fill that in pretty quickly. So this is something that you would want to make more natural and actually think about sometimes because again, if you don't think about it, you end up with these awkward situations where you just can't do it. Like, you can't use an entire column, and it might cut your entire board and make it so you can't build because there's a tough restriction. But it's not that you need a color to go there. It's like, or it's you can't put any other color there, so you have to put a certain color there as a result. Like, as a process of elimination, you can't put yellow, green, or blue there without breaking something. So you have to put a red. And these are harder to see, but here, so it's something you should start looking for. Like here, you can't put a red or a green, so if you draw a blue or a yellow, you might want to fill that in too. Here, you can't put a green or a blue, so if you draw a red or a yellow, you probably want to fill that in. It's something you should actually focus on, because that's going to allow you to continue to build your chain. So look for the situations where the other case is that you can have cuts that you know of. So let's say like this. This is a good chain, but the yellows are at risk of cutting. So let's say you build like this. And maybe you built a different form like this. So this one too, this one's even harder to see because you have to recognize the cut, but you can't put a yellow there because it's going to cut. And because you built a pretty big tail, it's a pretty big cut because you don't get that tail. So here you're actually, in this specific situation, there's no answer because the green cuts too. So it doesn't really work, but you would have to put a green or a yellow, and then you would have to use the green in your chain and make sure it doesn't fall down. But that's something where it's like you have to know, okay, I can't put a blue or a red there, and whatever I put there, be it yellow or green, I have to use it in my chain. So it would be a bit more, uh, maybe if you put this. So in this case, you would want to know, okay, I have to put a green here. If I draw a green, I need to put it right here, and I don't want to use it somewhere else. Like maybe you have this, and you're like, okay, I'm drawing double green. You might naturally want to put it here, but you would also want to consider putting it like here to cover the area that's really hard to fill in. So if this is something that you can recognize while playing, it really helps you to like actually build your chain without running into these problems later on of, oh, I can't use an entire column because only one color can go there, and you only realize after you've placed the color somewhere else a bunch of times and built something else with it, like built the tail and built an extension with it, and then you realize, oh, I needed that green here because nothing else works. So learning to recognize situations where you can't put a certain color and then prioritizing filling in the ones that are really tough can help you build chains more consistently.